What's up y'all, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to this very overdue speed reviews video. It's been a while, we've got a lot to talk about. Now, before we jump into this, if you're new here or if you missed my last speed reviews video, the way that this works is I split all these products into 3 different categories. So the first category is misses. It's exactly what it sounds like, products that I don't like for whatever reason. The next category is going to be products that they're okay, they're not great, they're not horrible, there's not anything that I would want to repurchase in the future, anything that I'm reaching for a lot, or anything that I'd like to pick up more shades of. And the last category is going to be products that I have really been loving, I've been enjoying, reaching for over and over. I would 100% repurchase them, and I would love to pick up more shades. But I will link and list all of the products that we talk about down in the description box, as well as everything that is on my face. I did film this video. It should already be up as a short here on YouTube and a reel over on Instagram, but it will all be down in the description box. So if you're curious about anything in this video, always check there. Now, as we talk about these products, keep in mind that it all comes down to like my skin type, my makeup preferences, things like that, as to whether or not I love them, I hate them, whatever the case may be. For reference, I am 38 years old. I do have normal skin type. I don't get very oily and I do not get very dry. And I prefer a light to medium coverage foundation. And generally I prefer my makeup to be kind of right down the middle. Not too matte, not too dewy, just kind of a very skin-like, not natural look, but you know, natural feeling on my skin. But let's go ahead and jump into these products. All right, let's go ahead and start with the misses. So up first is the e.l.f. bronzing drops. I wanted to love these because they are an affordable alternative to the ever popular bronzing drops that everybody and their mother has come out with, and these just didn't do it for me. They work fine if you mix them in with a moisturizer, but for me, I like a multi-use product. I want this to be able to deepen up a foundation if it's too light for me, and whenever I did that in a couple different foundations, it changed the consistency and kind of made the foundation a little streaky on my skin, and the wear time just wasn't there. And they also don't work very well as like a liquid bronzer over my foundation. So for me, they're just, they're not great. If you're looking to just mix them in with a moisturizer, they might be great, but for me, they're a pass. All right, the Urban Decay Face Balm Foundation, it's a no for me. Absolutely hated it. It did nothing for my skin. In fact, it aged me. It emphasized things on my skin that I didn't even know that I had. The little bit of texture on my mouth, it really made it pop. This right here is not normal. This is a chemical sunscreen reaction. I will tell you about that in a future video. But the lines on my forehead, it made them look like they were craters on my forehead. It just sunk into everything, clinged to everything. It did nothing for my skin. If you have oily skin, you might really love this, because everybody that I've heard that loves this, they have oily skin or combination skin. But if you have normal to dry, or if you have lots of texture, lots of wrinkles, mature skin, anything like that, I'd stay away from it. All right, let's talk about this one from Hourglass. So this is the Vanish Airbrush Pressed Powder. Now, this does exactly what it's supposed to do, so you're probably wondering why it's in this category, and the reason being is because that's all it does. This is a touch-up powder. This is meant to be thrown into your handbag and touch up your face throughout the day. If you're getting oily, your makeup's separating, you need a little refresh, that's what this is. This powder is almost $60. That's a bit much for a product that's all you can do it with. I tried setting my face with this and it did nothing. It didn't blur, it didn't, you know, get rid of pores, it didn't take down shine, it didn't extend the longevity of my makeup, it did nothing. And even as like a finishing powder, it doesn't add any luminosity to the skin, it doesn't do anything like that. So for me, one, I'm not that type of girly to throw a powder in my purse and touch up throughout the day. If my makeup's gonna break apart and like melt off my face because of the heat, so be it. It is what it is. I'm not that person. But even if I was, $60 is a bit much for a touch-up powder. I love Hourglass. They're one of my favorite brands, but I'd say stay away from it. Don't waste your money. It's just not worth it. All right, let's talk about these 3 from Color Rose. So Color Rose is a C beauty brand. I did do a designated video on their Water Ripple series collection that came out, but I want to talk about these 3 products in particular. So first is this blush. This is the pink to green blush right here. This did nothing. If you watch that video, There was nothing on my cheek. There was nothing anywhere. It is a really pretty like pink color when you swatch it out, but when I put it on the back of my hand, there's like nothing there. I tried using it as an under eye powder and it's just it's too dry. The formula is not meant for that reason. Plus, I mean, why would you purchase this as an under eye powder? So this was a miss for me. I love the packaging. I think it's beautiful. I like the embossing in the pan. I think that's beautiful as well. But as far as the two cheek colors, this one was a miss, 100%. Now, there was also two highlighters in the collection. I did pick up both of them. This one came broken. So this is this one, the one with like the orange and green packaging. And then the one with the pink and green packaging looks like this. These are pretty, but they're very glittery, and I am not into glitter. I don't like glitter at all. It gets everywhere. It doesn't go away, and these are just not for me. I like a highlighter that's going to be wet looking. It's going to be like beaming in your face, or maybe even like a subtle lit from within, but glitter is just not for me. So if you're into glitter, you might like these, but if you're not into glitter, stay away from them. All right, the RMS Beauty Redimension Hydra Bronzer. So I did pick this up in the shade Beach Walk Betty, and I was excited because I love the blushes. I love other products from the brand, and this one just didn't do it for me. So first of all, it has like this gel powder consistency. It's a very interesting consistency. It picks up really nice on the finger. It swatches out really nicely. But my issue with this bronzer is, one, it is very shimmery. It doesn't have just a sheen to it. It is a shimmery bronzer. So if you're not into that, I would stay away from this. My other issue is it's very hard to pick up on a brush. I really have to dig in here, and it takes me longer than I want to build up the color that I want on my skin. So I can use it, but it's just not anything that I'm going to reach for if I'm in a hurry, if I really want to have like a certain bronze look. I prefer more of a matte or like a sheen to my bronzer, not like a full-on shimmer. So for me, this just didn't do it. It's a pass. There's other bronzers out there that I think are prettier, they wear better, and they go on better. All right, let's talk about the NARS reformulated talc-free blushes, but more specifically the shade Orgasm. I picked up two of these in the Sephora sale, two minis. I picked up Orgasm and Orgasm Edge. You'll see Orgasm Edge later, but I don't like this. I do not like this at all. I have tried the original Orgasm before. I had it for a really long time. It was my go-to blush. I absolutely loved it. So I know what it's supposed to look like. And this one, first of all, I'm digging my finger in here, and that's the payoff that I get. That's like no color payoff. And with a brush, it's even worse. It's so dry, so gritty. It feels like sandpaper in here. And I don't know if it's because of the shimmer particles in it and the fact that there's no talc that it just doesn't work together. But I'm not a fan of this. I'm glad I did not get a full-size version. Maybe it's the one that I have. I don't know. But I'm not a fan of the reformulated version of the Orgasm blush. I think it's awful. I don't like it. I understand the reason behind the whole talc-free thing. I 100% get it. But for me, this is a complete pass. I don't like it. I like the old formula better, and I feel like this was just an OG product that was ruined. The Sigma Liquid Eyeliner Pen. This is a no. It's a no for me. Now, if you have like no texture on your lids at all, you might like it. But for somebody like me who is in her late 30s and has, you know, some wrinkles, some crinkles, you know, my eyes are getting to the mature spectrum of things, this pulled, it tugged, it skipped, it was not user friendly, and I didn't like it. I only used it twice, but that's all I need to know that I didn't like it. It does have like a felt tip to it, which is fine. It looks like a really nice tip. It goes on just fine when I do it on the back of my hand, but that just doesn't translate to the eyes. So I would skip out on this one. And last comes to us from Give by Gwen Stefani. This is the Dewy Plump Collagen Lip Gel. I tried to love this so much, and it just did not work out for me. I've seen a lot of people that love this, but every time I wore it, I got the stringy thing on my lips. And if you go back and you watch videos where I'm wearing this, you can see it when I'm talking. And it was bad enough that I wanted so bad to go back and refilm the video and repost it. And I was like, no, people need to see. They need to see what it's doing. It didn't matter if I scrubbed the you-know-what out of my lips and they were so soft, so hydrated, so smooth. I still got the stringy thing and I don't like it. I mean, it's not too thick. It feels very comfortable on the lips. The color is beautiful. The consistency is nice, but I can't get behind a gloss that's going to do that every single time I talk. So this was a pass for me. All right, let's jump into some products that are fine. They're okay. Up first is the Laura Mercier Pure Canvas Hydrating Primer. This is not a bad primer, but for my preferences, it doesn't do what I want it to do. I prefer a primer that is hydrating but has a little bit of a tack to it, like the Milk Hydro Grip or the One Size Secure the Glow, something that's going to give a little bit of a stickiness to the skin, hold my makeup in place. This does not do that. This is a very hydrating primer. Yes, it makes my makeup go on absolutely beautiful. It sits well under my makeup, but as far as longevity goes, I didn't notice that it did anything for that. So for me, it's not an awful primer. I will absolutely use it if I'm feeling really dry or if I'm just gonna have my makeup on for a little bit. But if I'm going in for the long haul, this is not one that I'm gonna reach for. All right, let's talk about some bronzers. The first one is this one from Pink Lippies. This is in the shade Latte. This came in my Ipsy BoxyCharm, I believe. And this is not a bad product. It's not awful, but it's also not a favorite. It's not as emollient and creamy as I want it to be. You can definitely, you know, put it on over and under powder products, but I wouldn't go directly on top of your makeup. I would pick it up with a brush or maybe put it on the back of your hand and then put it on. So it's not a bad product, but it's just not what I look for in a bronzer. I prefer something that's either like a liquid bronzer or something that's got, you know, a little bit more of like a soft emollient texture to it, like the one from Makeup by Mario. The next one is the Charlotte Tilbury Cream Bronzer. I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this one too, but I was not as impressed with it as everybody else. It's not a horrible bronzer, but I find it to be a little bit dry and a little hard to work with. Like, you have to work fast. It doesn't blend super easy on the skin. It does look beautiful once you get it on and it's blended out. It's just a little bit more work than I want to put in on a daily basis to get my bronzer on my skin. I want something that's like fail proof, that's going to melt into my skin, blend out easily, foolproof, something that just, it doesn't take a lot of effort. And for me, that didn't do it. So I like it, I will continue to use it, but it's not anything that I would repurchase in the future. Our next bronzer comes to us from the Sephora collection. This is the matte bronzer that came out a couple of months ago, and this is not a bad bronzer at all. Like, the color selection is really nice. This one is a little bit too yellowy for my skin. I picked up the shade Sun-Kissed Haze, which is the lightest shade in the collection. Now, it does go on very nicely. It blends into the skin. It's easy to work with, but when I'm comparing it to my favorite bronzer formulas, such as like my Tom Ford, Marc Jacobs, Haus Labs, MAC, even Physicians Formula, it just doesn't stack up to those. It's not as buttery and finely milled and soft on the skin as those are. Plus, I did get a little bit of hard panning in here. That's not a huge deal. I can definitely go in with some Scotch tape and take it off, but I have to take that into consideration when I'm looking at products that are favorites versus products that are okay, and this one is just, it's okay. The last bronzer comes to us from Guerlain, and it is the Terracotta Super Bloom Bronzer. This one came out as a limited edition summer collection item, and it's beautiful. I told y'all that I wanted it just because I thought it was beautiful, and I ended up picking it up after some convincing from one of y'all and a friend, and it is beautiful. That gold overspray goes away, and I like this more as a blush, because it's really hard to get around the wings and go in with just the bronzer, but it's really hard to dip into just the wings and pick up just the blush color. So when you mix them all together, you get more of a blushy shade than you do a bronzer shade. So this is something that going forward, I would definitely use as a blush. I like the formula. I think it's beautiful. I would still love to try the bronzer, but because this is marketed as a bronzer, and I'm not using it that way, it's gonna go into this maybe category. I hope that makes sense. I like it, but it's not a favorite. All right, let's slip right into blushes. So first is a liquid blush. This comes to us from Flower Beauty. This is the Ultra Light Liquid Blush. Now, if you watched my contour wand battle video that I posted a while back when I was like just getting started on YouTube, I hated the bronzer version of this. Hated it so much. So I was very apprehensive to pick this up, but I heard a lot of people say really good things about it, and this is nice. It's actually really nice. It's not a favorite liquid blush by any means. I love a liquid blush. It's one of my favorite products, but this one is not bad. If you're looking for something a little bit more on the inexpensive side from the drugstore that's got the little poof on it, this is a good one. Now, there are other liquid blushes that are a lot less expensive that are so much better than this, like the e.l.f. liquid blushes. Those are phenomenal, but this one's not a bad one. It's not anything that I want to pick up more colors in. It's not anything that I'm going to declutter. Like, I will use it, but it's not a favorite, but it's definitely kind of giving me a better taste of the brand. The Unearthly Spring Magic Incandescent Blush Palette. This is okay. It's okay. It's not my favorite. These are not the most pigmented blushes in the world, which is fine. I don't need a blush that's super pigmented like the ones from Blend Bunny, but these are so lightly pigmented that you really have to go in hard to build up a lot of color on the cheek. And then when you do, it's so incandescent and so shimmery that these are almost more blush topper to me. I love Unearthly. They're one of my favorite indie brands, but this just was not a favorite product from the brand. It's not a bad one. It's something that I think I would use more as a blush topper than as an overall blush. We've got some beautiful tones in here. I like the setup of it. I like the packaging, but as far as the formula goes, it's just not a favorite. All right, let's talk about highlighters and kick this off with these two liquid highlighters from Unearthly. These did come out with the Spring Magic collection. We have the shade I'm Sprung and Awaken. The formula is fine. It's not a fantastic formula. It's a little on the thicker side than what I prefer, and they don't work really well over powder products. So if you're gonna powder your face, you have to put this on before, and then that kind of takes away from everything. But the shades also are another reason that they're not gonna be favorites. So first of all, this one is an iridescent with a very green flippy base to it. Not anything that's gonna go very well with my cool skin tone. And then this one right here, as much as I love a pink highlighter, well, first of all, that just came out like a liquid drop. I probably should have shaken that up, I guess. Okay, interesting. But right here, you can see it's like too pink for my skin. Even where it came out liquidy, it's like too pink. It leaves a cast on my skin, and it's not super flattering for my skin tone. So this really comes down to the shades of them and the fact that I can't wear them over a powder product. But they're not bad, they're not horrible, they're just not anything that excites me. Okay, I missed a blush. This is the one from Color Rose from their Water Ripple series. This is the orange blush, and this one is nice. This is not a bad blush. I don't understand the blue down here. It does nothing even when I mix it in, but this one has pigmentation to it. This one shows up on my skin. This one looks really pretty on my cheeks, but it's not a favorite formula by any means. It's very soft, it's very silky, and it does look beautiful, but it's not anything that's a favorite, not anything that if they had more colors, I would want to get more of them, but it's also not anything that I would want to get rid of. But if you're into the Color Ripple, or the Water Ripple series from Color Rose collection, and you're wanting to pick up some pieces, because let's be honest, the packaging is everything, and that's the reason I picked it up, this is the blush that I would go for. All right, let's pop back over to highlighters. This is the Colorful Luminizer from the Sephora collection. I picked up the shade Rose Quartz, and this is fine. It's an okay highlighter. It's not completely my speed. I prefer something that is definitely more blinding and more wet looking than this. This is more of like a lit from within. It is very soft, very creamy. It does go on really nicely. So maybe if you're somebody who wants to have a highlighter just in case they're going to use it, you're not like a big highlighter person, I think this is perfect for that. But for me, who wants to blind, who wants to be beaming, who wants to have that look, it's just not quite what I'm going for. So it's not a bad formula, it just comes down to preference for me. The last highlighter in this category comes to us from One Size, and this is the Wicked Defying Gravity highlighter, and this is a very beautiful highlighter. The reason I'm putting it here is because it's a little too dark based for my fair skin tone. You can definitely see it if I go in a little too heavy-handed. I do think it is very beautiful. I think it's gonna work really well on a lot of different skin tones, but for me, it's just too dark. So it's not bad. It's not a bad formula. It just doesn't work very well for my fair skin tone. The e.l.f. Instant Lift Waterproof Brow Pencil. This is okay. It's fine. I've said it before, if you have like bushy brows or full brows or tattooed on brows and you're just looking to fill in a little bit, give a little bit of extra color, this is fine for that. But if you're looking to build a brow, this is not going to be your girl. The tip is very thick. It is very waxy. It breaks really easy as well. I like the color of it. I like the consistency. For my brows in particular, it works. But I know that there's a lot of people out there who are looking for like a very fine tip to do hair-like strokes and give it a more natural feel, and this does not do that. So it's not a bad one, but it really comes down to preference. And for me, I have other ones that I like more than this, but it's also not a bad product either. So if you're balling on a budget or you're kind of in the same situation as me, I think you'd like it. But again, if you're trying to build a brow from scratch, I'd pass on this. The Wet n Wild So Defined Mascara. Absolutely beautiful. I love it. It does so much for my lashes. It gives length, it gives volume, it separates, it holds a curl. I like the wand on here. It's not waterproof, but it's not waterproof either. Like if my eyes start to water, it's not going to just melt down my face. But if I go in and catch it and like dot it with a Kleenex, it is gonna come off. So that's what I mean when I say waterproof, but not waterproof. But the reason I have it here, after 2 weeks of using this, it started to clump. It started to get like goopy. It started to make a mess whenever I put it on my lashes, and it just didn't last very long. The formula did not hold up. So for that reason, that's why I put it right here, because yes, it's affordable, but if you buy this as like your staple mascara and you're using it every single day, you might as well just get one that's going to be a little bit pricier and last you at least 3 months, because you're supposed to change them out every 3 months, because this one just isn't going to work after 2 weeks. So that's my big gripe behind this and why I put it where I put it. It's one that if I was, you know, out of town and forgot a mascara, I would go out and purchase this to use for a couple weeks and then chuck it, but it's not one that will be like a regular rotation in my collection. Okay, so we have these two lip liners right here from Misha Beauty. These came in like a duo in my Ipsy Boxy Charm, and these are okay. They're not great. They're not horrible. There's nothing about them that made me want to run to the website and purchase more of them. First of all, they are the ones that twist up. I prefer a pencil that I can sharpen, but the formula it's okay. It's not super drying, but it's a little bit drier than what I prefer in a lip liner, and the pigmentation just does not last all day. The lip liners that I love are ones that I can put on in the morning, and when all is said and done, after everything, it's the last thing standing on my lips, and that's what I want from a lip liner. So not great, not horrible, just not a favorite. Speaking of lip liners, the ColourPop So Juicy Plumping Lip Liners. These I have the opposite problem with. These are too creamy. These kind of slide everywhere and don't stay put. They look great when you first put them on. They do have like a slight tingle to them, but I've noticed after I wear them for a little bit, it's moved. It's not where I put it. It kind of goes outside my lines. It doesn't stay put. It's too creamy for what I prefer. Same thing with the packaging. I don't like this twist up packaging. If the formula is really good, I don't mind it, but it's not a favorite. I prefer the lippy pencils from ColourPop, even though those have a tendency to fall out of the tube. I like the consistency of those better than I do of these. So from Wet n Wild, we have the Rich Satin Lipsticks right here. This is what it looks like on the back of my hand. The formula is very comfortable. The color is pretty, but for me, it has more of a metallic-y finish to it than a satin finish, and that's just not what I'm looking for when it comes to a lipstick. I don't mind a satin finish. I prefer more like a soft matte or like a real rich and creamy finish. But yeah, it's not a favorite. There's other ones from the brand, from the drugstore at an affordable price that I just prefer better than this one. All right, the last product to talk about is the Gucci Plumping Lip Glosses. Yes, I bought another shade. Why? I don't know. I'm a glutton for punishment because I love the formula in here. The formula is beautiful. I love the way that it looks. I love the way it goes on, the way it feels. I love the subtle plumping effect that it gives, but this stinks. It smells so bad. It's a familiar smell. I can't figure out what it is. I can't put it into words. If you know what the smell is, leave it down below because it unlocks some memory, but I can't pinpoint what it is. So it's one of those that I love it on the lips. It's beautiful, but it smells so bad. And I forget about the smell because I love the formula. And then I put it on and go, oh, it smells really bad. So if you have an issue with smell, which I generally do not, stay away from these. Do not go anywhere near them because yes, the smell goes away, but it takes a while. So yeah, I kind of went back and forth as to where to put these, but this is where they're going to land, right in the mid. I probably will not purchase any more shades than these two right here, but I won't get rid of it, but I won't repurchase it. All right, we've come to the exciting part, the products that I have really been loving lately. So let's jump into this. Up first is the Wet n Wild Impossible Primer Stick. I love the original one in the tube. I love this one more. It's more user-friendly. It's easier to put on. It just glides onto the face. Like you just put it all over and then I just kind of like very lightly kind of smooth it on my skin and it just gives the most beautiful blurred effect. It does control oil. So for me in the summer when it gets a little bit hotter and my skin starts to produce not really oil but sweat, it does help with that. It just kind of fills in any lines. It gives a really beautiful airbrush effect to the skin and I love that it comes in a stick. It doesn't have a fragrance to it. It goes on clear. This is a beautiful, beautiful product. Okay, let's chat about foundations. Up first is the Wet n Wild Bare Focus Niacinamide Skin Tint. This is gorgeous. It makes my skin look so flawless, so like perfected, but like my skin, but better perfected, if you know what I mean. You can go in with a very light, thin layer and get a light coverage, or you can build it up to like a light medium. It's got lots of hydration in it, so if you have oily skin, just be aware of that. But I think if you set it down with a really good powder and maybe like a oil control primer, I think you'd be okay. But for all of my normal to dry skin girlies out there, this is absolutely beautiful. It was featured in my best of 2024 so far, and this is hands down one of my favorite foundations in my collection. The Dolce & Gabbana Blueberry Nutra Tint Skin Tint. This is so, so beautiful. It is very lightweight. It is very light coverage. So you're not going to get any like coverage for your redness. You're not going to get any coverage if you have any blemishes or imperfections, but it's just going to give you that my skin but better look. So it's got less coverage than this right here, but this to me is along the lines of the Chanel Le Beige Water Fresh Tint, the CoverGirl one that's like a dupe for that, the Chantecaille, all of that. It's on those lines, but this is cheaper, less expensive than the Chanel and the Chantecaille. It is more than the CoverGirl, but I like the consistency of this better. I like the way that it goes on better. It's less fussy and it just looks beautiful on the skin. A little bit goes a long way. I love that this is plastic, so if you travel a lot, it doesn't take up a lot of space. It goes right in there. It has this twist off lid with this cute little squirter, so it's not going to make a mess if it's upside down, and it's beautiful. I absolutely love this one, and I'm really impressed with the price point of it from a luxury house brand. The Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Powder, specifically in the shade Baby Pink. I love this. If you've been paying attention to my description box down below, you have seen I have used the crap out of this. I absolutely love it. It's so blurring, so lightweight, so lightly milled. In the pink shade, it doesn't look very pink at all, even in person, but it's just a little bit more pink than the Start White. So if you have a cool tone skin tone, this is going to be absolutely beautiful. I love this. I like this more than my Charlotte Tilbury. I like this more than my Dior Powder No Powder. This has quickly become a favorite under eye powder. The minute I hit pan, I will run out and purchase another one. Let's do setting spray really quick. So the e.l.f. Power Grip Dewy Setting Spray, I love this. I have been using this nonstop. You can see how much I've used. You have to shake it up before you use it. It has a super fine mixture on it, like so fine you can't even feel it hitting the skin. So you're really curious as to whether or not you even put it on. It's very easy to get carried away with this, but I have noticed this really holds my skin in place without mattifying it too much, but also without giving it so much dew to the skin that it kind of takes away from any powdering or anything that I've done with it. I really enjoy the Patrick Ta Dewy Setting Spray, but that one can be a little too much sometimes. So I think for in the summer, this one's going to be perfect if you don't want to have that mattifying look, but you want something that's going to set your makeup and hold it in place all day. All right, let's talk bronzers. I have 3 sitting here in front of me. Let's start with Give by Gwen Stefani. This is not a new product. It did come out last year, but this has been sitting on my wish list forever because this shade in particular has been sold out forever. This is the shade Heatin' Up. This is the Pick It Up Cream Contour and Powder Bronzer Duo, and I 100% understand the hype behind this. I wish the pans were bigger. I wish we had less of this plastic, but this is a gorgeous formula. This is so creamy, but it's not so creamy that it picks up your makeup underneath. You can use it over and under powder products. And then if you reiterate it with this, absolute perfection. I love it. It's beautiful. I've had to really put it down and reach for other bronzers because I'm still testing them out. But I think if I had to choose like a handful of bronzers, I could never choose just one, but this one would definitely be in like my top favorites. It does have a slight scent to it, but it's nothing that you can smell when you're putting it on or whenever it's on your skin. It's just something that you can smell like in here, but the packaging is adorable. I love that we have a mirror. I just wish that the pan sizes were a little bit bigger. All right, the e.l.f. Primer Infused Bronzer. This is in the shade Forever Sunkissed, and I love this bronzer. I am so impressed with this from e.l.f. It's beautiful. It's finely milled. It goes on so beautifully. It's not so pigmented that like you put it on and it's like, oh no, what have I done? But it builds up and it doesn't patch, it doesn't skip, it doesn't lift product. It stays on the skin all day. I don't have to worry about fading. This is a beautiful bronzer from the drugstore at an affordable price point, and I would hands down 100% repurchase this. All right, I don't think any of you are going to be surprised to see this one here, but this is the Dolce & Gabbana bronzer, more specifically the Face and Eyes Match Lasting Bronzer and Eyeshadow Powder. I have the lightest shade, which is 01 Light, and first of all, the packaging. This packaging is so luxe. It is heavy. It is not lightweight at all. And we have this really gorgeous bronzer in here. The pan size is huge. This is so finely milled. It looks beautiful on the skin. It just has like this really pretty sheen to it. It's not a full-on matte bronzer, but it's also not a glowy bronzer either. The formula in here reminds me a lot of the Tom Ford, but dare I say I think I like this one a little bit better. Plus, the price is almost half of the Tom Ford. So I've really been impressed with the Dolce & Gabbana line. You're gonna see more from them in this section of the video, but I love this bronzer. I think it's beautiful. I can't recommend it enough. If you're into luxury makeup or you want to try out luxury makeup, I think Dolce & Gabbana is a great place to start, because while they are on the pricier side of makeup, they're not quite up there with Tom Ford, Chanel, Chantecaille, or any of those. They're priced down a little bit lower, but I love this bronzer. I think it's beautiful and I can't get enough of it. Okay, let's go ahead and pop over to blushes. We have quite a few of them to talk about, but up first is going to be the Moon Prism Blush Palette from Lunar Beauty. I got this in a BoxyCharm and I love it. I've been eyeing this for such a long time and I'm so happy to have it in my collection. The packaging is absolutely beautiful. You do get a mirror in here, but the shade selection, I love. Every single shade in here I can use on my fair skin tone. This one right here called Gravity is a bronzer for me. If I go in with a light hand, it looks beautiful on the skin. I've used it several times as a bronzer, but the formula is beautiful. It's pigmented. It's not over pigmented, but it is very pigmented. So a little bit goes a long way. It almost has like a blurring airbrushed look to it on the skin. And I love it. I think it's a fantastic formula and I'm very impressed. The NARS reformulated talc-free blush in the shade Orgasm Edge. I told y'all will be seeing this later in the video because specifically the matte blush formula I think is beautiful. This one is creamy, it's velvety, it's smooth, it's soft, it's pigmented. I actually get the color payoff on my skin. It works how I expect the other one to work. So while the regular Orgasm with the sparkles in it was a miss, I think the matte formula is where it's going to be with this reformulated blush. I love it. I would 100% purchase more of these in the matte formula. Our next blush comes to us from Dolce & Gabbana. I told you you'd be seeing more from the brand. This is the Cheeks and Eyes Match Lasting Blush and Eyeshadow Powder in the shade Joyful Peach. So it comes in the same packaging as the bronzer, but it's smaller and it's white, but it's still heavy, it's still luxe, it still feels very expensive. And this is what the product looks like on the inside. So absolutely gorgeous orangey peach color. It looks beautiful on the skin. It's pigmented, but it's not like one of those where it's so pigmented that it can kind of get out of hand, but it definitely has more pigmentation to it than my Chanel blush, more than the Guerlain blush that I tried. This is what I expect from a luxury brand. I expect pigmentation, I expect blurring, I expect, you know, it to look diffusing on the cheeks, I expect it to melt in, and the color lasts all day. So again, like I said before, if you want to get into luxury or maybe you want to branch out from luxury that you already love, check out Dolce & Gabbana. The e.l.f. Primer Infused Blushes. So I don't know if this was completely a new product, but I know that they did a shade expansion and I picked up the shade Always Rosy. And again, just like the bronzer, this is a beautiful formula. A little bit goes a long way. It is a little bit on the more pigmented side, so don't go in too heavy-handed. You can go in, you know, pretty good, but just, you know, kind of take your time, build up the color, but it looks beautiful. It lasts all day. It doesn't patch, it doesn't skip. It just melts into the skin and I absolutely love the formula. I think it's beautiful. I would love to pick up more shades of this and I think I probably will. And our last blush is not a new one, but it is new to me. It comes to us from Makeup by Mario and it is the Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veil in the shade Perfect Pink. These have been on my wish list for a really long time and I love this formula. If you like the Skin Perfector, the bronzer in the same packaging, you'll love this. It's the same consistency, so it's emollient, it's creamy, it's softly pigmented. You can build it up, but it's not meant to be like a bam in your face pigmentation. It's meant to be more of like a soft flush of color on your bare skin or a skin tint, something like that. But I think the formula is beautiful. I love the color, I love the pigmentation, I love everything about this, and I understand the hype behind it. All right, we have just a couple of highlighters to talk about. Let's start with this one from Fenty Beauty. This is the Demi Glow Light Diffusing Highlighter Illuminator in the shade Too Much. Now, everybody thought these were going to be like a subtle lit from within glow. It kind of sounded like that's how it was going to be from the way that they were marketed, but these are so blinding. They're not as blinding as like her original formula, but this on the cheeks is so wet looking, so gorgeous. I love how it just blends in. I already have highlighter on, but Look at that. Oh my gosh, it just melts into the skin and gives this blinding look, but when I look straight ahead, you can't see it. So these are kind of based off of like your skin tone as far as what color you would choose. And of course, I got the one that's like a pinky peach undertone, but I love the formula. It is so creamy, so beautiful, so pigmented. The packaging is adorable and I just love it. All right, so our last highlighter is the Dior Forever Glow Maximizer. I picked up the shade Pink, and this really kind of set me on to loving liquid highlighters. I had tried them in the past, and I was not a fan. There was something about the way they went on. They were either like chunky, they dried really fast, or they didn't look beautiful on the skin. But this one right here is absolutely stunning. It's not quite as blinding as the Fenty, but it just gives this gorgeous like natural glow that's more than a glow from within, but it's not beaming either. I don't know how to describe it, but it melts into the skin. It goes over and under powder. I prefer it over powder because I like the glow. I can also wear this as an inner corner highlighter. I like to wear it as like a topper on top of my lips. Let me show you because it looks beautiful. If you just put a little bit right in the middle, it just adds this really soft, subtle, like pop of glimmer in the middle, and I love it. I think it's a beautiful formula, definitely worth it, and I'm glad I changed my mind and decided to pick it up. All right, let's move on to lip products. We've got quite a few of them to talk about. Let's start with liners. I have 3 of them right here. And the first one is the Wet n Wild Perfect Pout Gel Lip Liner. This is a beautiful formula. It lasts all day. It doesn't trickle outside of my lines. It doesn't smudge. It doesn't smear. It's not too stiff that it's hard to put on, but it's not too creamy, like I said, where it moves. The color is gorgeous. This is a red lip liner. I really want to pick up more colors because red is not an everyday color for me, but this is a gorgeous formula. If you're looking for a lip liner and you don't want to break the bank, check out Wet n Wild. The next one is the Lawless Forget the Filler Definer Liner. This is another beautiful formula. It doesn't have any plumping or anything like that, but it is a pencil formula, so it can be sharpened. And again, it's creamy. It's not super creamy. It's not super stiff. The color lasts all day. There's not a whole lot I can say about a lip liner. I love the shades in here. There's a lot of pinky nude shades, but it's a really beautiful formula. I like how it goes on. I like how it lasts, and I like how it looks on my lips. And the last lip liner comes to us from Glaminatrix Cosmetics. These are absolutely beautiful as well. This feels like a plastic, but it is sharpenable. I have sharpened it myself. I asked the brand before I did it, but this is such a good formula. Again, I sound like a broken record. It's everything I want in a liner. It's creamy, but it's not overly creamy. It's not overly dry. The color lasts all day. They only have 3 shades. I'm hoping they expand the line of that, but this is a beautiful liner. It's affordable. It's from an indie brand, and I absolutely love it. All right, we've got some lipsticks to talk about. So let's start with this one from Wet n Wild. This is the Soft Blur Matte Lipstick. This is the one that I absolutely love. I cannot get enough of. Not only do I love the color in this one, but the formula is perfect. It's just like this soft flush of color, but it has that soft matte to it. It lasts all day. It goes absolutely beautiful with this lip liner right here, and it's not drying. It just kind of like fills in your lips, makes them look nice and soft and velvety while adding a nice splash of color to the lips. The Merit Signature Matte Lip. I picked this up during the Sephora sale. I picked up the shade Classic, and this is a beautiful formula. I already knew that I loved their original like creamy formula, their satin one. I like this formula more. Not to mention this color is like the perfect nude for me. It has just this slight pinky brown tone to it. It's very flattering, very comfortable. I've seen other people use this shade and it seems to be universally flattering. It's hydrating while staying matte and not sucking the life out of your lips, which is one of the things that I love about it, and that's kind of a trend lately as far as what I've been going for with lip products. I've really been enjoying either super glossy or like a soft matte lip, but This is a beautiful formula. I love it. It's so comfortable, and the shade is really what gets me. But another one that I picked up that I was very hesitant about, but I did anyway, and I have zero regrets, is the matte lipstick from Prada Beauty. This is the soft matte lipstick. I actually got the name right, but it's in the shade B108. I think it's called like nude or something like that. This is such a stunning formula as well. One, the shade is absolutely beautiful. It's this one right here. It's definitely on the pinkier side. This is a little bit more dry in the tube than the Merit one is, but again, it's still hydrating on the lips. It doesn't suck the life out of them. I wouldn't wear this on a day that my lips are super dry because it's not that hydrating, but with somebody who does have chronically dry lips 24/7, it doesn't suck the life out of them, and I love it. I'm really enjoying Prada Beauty as well. I want to try more from the brand, but this lipstick is absolutely stunning and one of my favorites. And of course we have the Glaminatrix Cosmetics lipstick. This is in the shade Joyful, and I love this. First of all, the packaging is so luxe and beautiful, but it's still very lightweight. And I love that we have the slim lipstick, but this is another one of those formulas that it's more like, it's definitely a matte formula, but it's very creamy, very hydrating. It looks beautiful on the lips. It's very pigmented. A little bit goes a long way. You can absolutely sheer this out or really build it up to be a bold lip, but the color lasts all day. I don't have any issues with it going outside, smearing, doing anything like that. Any of these actually. If it's a favorite, it's going to be one that wears all day. It doesn't smudge, the color lasts, it's pigmented, and it's comfortable. So I'm not going to spend too long explaining what I love about it because I'm a broken record when it comes to it, but these from Glaminatrix are absolutely beautiful. The Unearthly lip gloss in the shade Pollen. This came out with the Spring Magic collection. I love the Unearthly lip gloss formula. It's comfortable, it's hydrating. Again, broken record, but this shade I love because it has this really pretty like pink gold sheen to it. You can see it right there on my hand. I hope you can see it, but it's just so flattering over like every single lip color. It's not like super metallic and like transformy where you feel like a certain look has to go with it. It's just flattering with every single lip color I've put over it. I love the applicator. I love everything about it. Unearthly lip glosses are always hit or miss for me, and it's always because of the color. They like to do very unique colors, and that's not something I usually go for, but this one is absolutely gorgeous. It actually kind of reminds me of the one that Heather Austin did, Omen. It reminds me of that, where it's just universally flattering over every single lip color, and I don't know if they sell this one separately, but she absolutely needs to. All right, we have one more product to talk about. It was hiding under some things, but it is a liquid blush, and it's the Give by Gwen Stefani Dewy Plump Collagen Cheek Tint. This is in the shade Bouquet. This came out at the same time as the lip gloss did. This is a gorgeous formula. I absolutely love it. I'm a sucker for a liquid blush. This one's beautiful. You've got the work time. It doesn't dry down super fast. It's not super sticky. It's not like real thick either. It's not hard to blend out. It doesn't patch. It doesn't skip. It doesn't lift the product underneath. And it has this really pretty like sheen to it, to where it kind of makes you look like your face is plumper. So I think that's where the dewy plump comes from. It doesn't have like a tingle or anything like that to it. It's not going to plump your cheeks, but it's just going to give you like this youthful plump effect to your skin. I love these. They're so beautiful. I really want to pick up more shades of this. This is a fantastic product and one of my favorites. I really do enjoy the brand. In fact, the lip gloss is one of the first products that I've tried from the brand that I don't like, but this one, 2 thumbs up for me. All right, y'all, that is going to complete this speed reviews video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a long one. We had a lot to talk about, but I want to hear from y'all. I love chatting with y'all down in the comment section. Which products do you have? Which ones do you love? Which ones do you hate? Let's have that conversation. Light up that comment section. And as usual, I want to thank you all so much for watching my video and spending your time with me. It truly does mean so much to me. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my future posts here on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every week and I wouldn't want you to miss one. But until my next video, have a good one. Bye.